The jetpack era of COD was very controversial, to say the least. A lot of people still think it was the dark age for the franchise, but now that the dust has settled, I think we can all agree these games had some really good ideas, and there were some really good maps. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Today we're going to take a trip through COD history. We're going to take a look at what I think are the 10 best multiplayer maps from the jetpack era. So you let me know which of these jetpack games was your favorite, which was your least favorite. Drop a like on the video. We move on, guys. We're giving away a PS5 at 2.8 million subs. That's right. Somebody on this channel that watches these videos is going to win a PS5. It's simple to enter. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like this video. Comment your Twitter handle. That's important because if you win, I have to be able to get hold of you and follow me over on Twitter. The details are the top pinned comment on the video, and there's a bonus entry in those details as well. We start off at number 10. Frost and Infinite Warfare. This, to me, was one of the most visually memorable maps in IW. The layout was a lot of fun. It was a mid-sized map, pretty traditional 3-lane, required you to get good with the jetpacks if you were going to succeed at it, which is why some people disliked it. But I would certainly argue that it was one of the best maps in the game. There was a lot of verticality, there were flanking routes, not too many places to camp or stay stationary for more than a minute or so. You had to be somewhat aggressive here, and you had to be willing to use your booster if you played the game by its rules, which was fun. The visuals were pretty awesome. Lots of ice, frozen bits of architecture. It gave it a ton of extra personality. I think it's a good way to start off today's list. At number 9, Hunted in Black Ops 3. Hunted is one of those maps that played really well in certain game modes, then really bad in others. Domination, it was pretty bad. It was blatantly unfair. It was. The placement of the B flag, but every other game mode was pretty good. Hunted was an amazing way to experience the Black Ops 3 gameplay loop, large enough that you wouldn't get stuck in your spawn, but streamlined enough that you would quickly get into the action no matter where you were. There was a lot of great wall running spots. There was a lot of good flanking routes. It looked visually amazing, especially after the patch that fixed up the lighting a few months after Black Ops 3 launched. I mean, how many times you get caught by somebody sniping in the top middle waterfall? How about the sniping spot right next to the middle waterfall? Maybe the flanking route behind the other waterfall. Hunted could be inconsistent, yes. But if you were playing it right, I think it was one of the best maps of the jetpack era. And I think it was the very first map I ever played in the Black Ops 3 alpha. At number 8, Detroit in Advanced Warfare. Is it Detroit or Detroit? Sledgehammer's first full Call of Duty outing had some very interesting takes on maps. I think a lot of the community agrees that the maps in AW were mostly all right, not really good, not really bad. But Detroit was certainly one of the better ones to me, and I think it holds up well. Relatively small, had a lot of small corridors and streets to run through, but it also had some massive open areas for you to bunny hop around and blast people across the lobby if you hit them with a good old-fashioned exo punch. Detroit worked really well for the kind of super verticality and fast-paced gameplay loop that Sledgehammer was going for with this game. And even though a lot of the AW maps weren't standouts, I think this was upper tier. At number 7, Fringe in Black Ops 3. The map that was set in the middle of an abandoned street. Kind of felt like a spiritual successor to Standoff from Black Ops 2. You had massive streets in the middle, several windows to snipe from, but then you also had some cheesy flanking routes to get the drop on enemy players who were getting a little too comfortable sitting in one place. And you guys remember all the crazy trick shot spots? The bridge in one of the spawns, the cylinders in the other spawn, the long middle road that people would do jumping no-scopes across. Fringe made great use of the advanced movement without being obnoxious about it. If you wanted to keep your feet on the ground and never use your jetpack, it was a perfectly viable playstyle. I've been kind of dismissive of this map over the years, but honestly, I'm looking back now, I think it was probably one of the better jetpack maps. It's worth a second look if you're someone who, like me, didn't think much of it during Black Ops 3's initial run. At number 6, Nuketown in Black Ops 3. The Black Ops fanbase tends to call this version of Nuketown the worst one so far, but that doesn't mean it was bad. It just means the other Nuketown variations were really good. Black Ops 3's version of Nuketown is still a great map if you ask me. It was fun. In order to accommodate the advanced movement and the specialist abilities, Treyarch made the streets slightly wider, slightly larger, the building slightly taller, and they also added a couple extra set pieces to make it better for wall running. If you played Black Ops 3 Nuketown like classic Nuketown, it could be fun, but if you took advantage of your advanced movement options, it was a blast. You could easily score 50-60 kills per match in game modes like Dom or Hardpoint. Again, I agree. I agree with the claims that it's the worst version of Nuketown, but at the same time, I think it's an excellent COD jetpack map, and it had some of the best combat and gameplay of any 6v6 maps during the jetpack era. Now we arrive at the top 5. Frontier in Infinite Warfare. This was one of the first multiplayer maps we ever got a look at for IW, and I think it's one of the most memorable. 2-level map, set on a space station, and when you killed somebody, their body would start floating away due to the lack of gravity. That was a fun little touch. But with the speed of the map, I mean, that's what people loved about it, and the great place to get the super high kill matches and level up quickly. It was fun. The corridors were tight. The map rewarded you for getting good with the movement and the mechanics. It didn't feel too oppressive if you weren't in advanced movement. It walked between that line, between a jetpack map and fast-paced boots on the ground, and that was a good way to win people over. I think it was a good map. Infinity Ward got a lot of crap for this game, but their map design, I think it was on point for a lot of it. At number 4. Green Band in Advanced Warfare. When you think of AW's multiplayer, you probably think of Green Band before most of the other maps, assuming you don't think of Green Band first. This map was very vertical, had a lot of set pieces and lanes that could completely be bypassed if you just learned how to bunny hop and use your exosuit to your advantage. People could easily score 50+ kills on this map in every game mode, but if you weren't going to get good with the movement, you were going to hate every second of this map. You probably noticed that a lot of the best jetpack COD maps were the ones where the advanced movement wasn't too in your face, so it might be shocking for me to put Green Band this high because advanced movement was a necessity, but it was worth it. This map was fun, but you really had to get good at jumping really high over and over again while keeping track of your surroundings. Super unique map, lots of awesome places to fight, and I think it was the best map in the game. Now we arrive at the top 3. Throwback and Infinite Warfare. If you wanted to see Infinite Warfare at its most varied, this is where you do it. Throwback had several different sections. They all had very different playstyles. You could snipe on the side lane. You could get into a fight pit in the dead center. You could play sneaky around the outskirts, or you could do a combination of all of them. In objective modes like Domination and Hardpoint, this map was a ton of fun because you were forced to move around the environment. You were forced to try all different styles, and this layout kept you from getting too comfortable with just one playstyle, so consistently playing well here was a great showing of skill. I liked the map, even though I think there was a couple other jetpack COD maps that were better. Throwback was a fantastic map. I honestly think it would work really well in a boots-on-the-ground map setting as well as jetpack. Maybe in the future we'll see it in a game. Probably not, because I have a feeling that Infinity Ward is never going to remake any of those maps, but it's okay. At number 2, Combine in Black Ops 3. This was by far the most popular map in Black Ops 3 by a landslide. I get it. Smallest map in the game at launch. Pretty sure it held that title all the way through the DLC drops as well. Classic Treyarch 3-lane map reminded me a lot of Slums from Black Ops 2 in the sense that the 2 outer lanes were primarily used for flanking and positioning. The middle lane was a non-stop fight pit where only the most skilled players in the lobby could survive for more than a few kills at a time. It was small enough to keep the pace up, but big enough to keep you from getting spawn trapped. It played really good in every game mode. Not only was it the best map in the game, it's also, honestly, one of Treyarch's best maps of all time, and that's saying something. And now, number 1. The best jetpack COD map in COD history. Genesis and Infinite Warfare. Even if you hated the game, you probably had a good time on this map. Genesis was more or less a remake of Dome from Modern Warfare 3, but several things were adjusted to accommodate that movement. Certain walkways were made larger, certain walls were made taller, and the end result was a chaotic and fast-paced map that absolutely everybody played on, even if they didn't like the game as a whole. Genesis was that perfect example of how to update a classic map for a new multiplayer without losing the appeal of the original or overshadowing the mechanics of the game. The map was good. It was awesome. Honestly, I think it's one of the last great maps that Infinity Ward has put their name on. Their Modern Warfare reboot maps have been controversial to say the least, and a lot of people have criticized them for being too slow and campy, but Genesis, that proved they still had what it takes to make some frantic, fun, and well-balanced COD maps. So, hopefully, in their next game, they're going to bring the same energy like Genesis to their map design. And there you have it, my friends. Just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody supporting the channel and the Call of Duty content on here. I truly, truly appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon.